Joining us here at the Attorney General's office. I think this is a big victory for the community, for our prosecution team. They did an outstanding job. But I think most importantly, I think it's a moment for us to be able to try and begin the process of healing for the Vigil family. Sam, and you and your family have gone through so much, and Jackie's death has had an extraordinary impact on the community. And whenever you find yourself in these moments, there is some relief, some sense of justice, but I want you to take away from that the idea that, if nothing else, Jackie's death has galvanized and focused people's attention in this community on the public safety crisis that we have, on the crime issue that we have to get a handle on. And while I know that is no comfort to the family, I want you to know that all of us who are doing this kind of work we're going to take that with us and find energy in that and keep fighting for your family and for everyone's family. I know that the community has been watching this case very closely. It was, when I was district attorney here in Albuquerque, one of the cases that we really invested a lot of time and energy and resources into. And I want to take a moment to thank our local law enforcement partners, the Albuquerque Police Department, for the work that they contributed, the Federal Bureau of Investigation for providing critical assistance in this investigation. But I also want to take a moment to recognize the extraordinary work of Kyle Hartsock and the members of the Crime Strategies Unit. It was a unit that was created specifically inside the District Attorney's Office to try and fill in some of the gaps and provide additional resources to the investigation. And I know that when the investigation was unfolding, a lot of the things that were happening behind the scenes and behind closed doors weren't made publicly available. They've been, frankly, on display now through the course of the trial. But the bottom line is Luis Talamantes has been taken off the streets of this community. He will serve a lengthy term in prison and hopefully will spend the rest of his days there. This team will do everything that we can to seek the maximum penalty. I want to congratulate John Duran and Greer Staley for the incredible work that they have done. This is a case that, frankly, when we took over the Attorney General's office, there were a handful of cases that we had committed so many investigative and prosecutorial resources to that we didn't think it was fair to the incoming administration to try and hand that off. And so I'm very pleased with the work that they did, the energy and effort that they put into it. And fundamentally, I think this is a moment for everyone in the community to really take a moment to reflect on not just the tragedy that is inherent in this crime, but the life and the legacy that Jackie left. You have an incredible family, 2 sons in law enforcement, and I want to thank you for their service and for their commitment to the community. And it's that kind of commitment to the community that's going to be able, hopefully, to help us turn the corner on this problem. And so with that, I want to offer the family an opportunity to say a few words. You don't have to. I know this is a very emotional moment for you. And then if there are any particular questions about any of the issues that were raised during the course of the trial, we'd be happy to address those. Specifically, I know there were a lot of twists and turns in the presentation of the case to the jury, but justice was done today, and justice was done for Jackie. And we are going to continue to do everything that we can to make sure that whenever there's a family in need, we're there to help. So thank you again. You want to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
I can take out my notes. Okay, so first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to the prosecution team, Mr. Duran, Ms. Staley. Thank you guys. You guys did an amazing job on presenting the case. thank you to Commander Harstock and his hard work, all the agencies involved that helped this case. And we have been waiting for this moment since November 19th, since my mom was taken from us. I'd like to say thank you to everybody that reached out, everybody that was here with us this week and a half. It's been tough for everybody, for the family, and we finally got justice for my mom. And I'd like to say thank you to my dad for fighting. He fought very hard every day. I know you loved her very much, and just thank you for fighting, and I know you're gonna keep fighting. But we got justice, and he got what he deserved. So he doesn't deserve to be out here with us in the community. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I also want to thank Mr. Duran and Ms. Stacy. I hope I pronounced your name right. I've been having a hard time asking my children, am I going to, speak out well, you guys. But thank you so much. I want to thank Attorney General Torres for allowing this case to continue under his watch. Now as Attorney General, because as you all know, he was elected Attorney General, and for a while there I was like, wow, what's going to happen to this case now? Are we going to have to start again with a new attorney, and where is it going to go? But thank you so much, appreciate that. I also want to thank the jury, for really listening to the evidence that these two people put together. That was, in my opinion, amazing. I can't stop talking about how well they put together the case, and I think that's what brought the victory for Jackie, And of course, those of us that are victims of this horrible crimes, we really, it's a step forward, but there will always be that void that's been created for us to try to fill, which would never fill it up through the rest of our lives. We just have to learn how to live with it. But again, thanks to all the people involved in bringing this case forward and taking it to trial. I know that they worked really hard. I know that these two people put so much hours into it. You had to put so many hours into it. And we kept talking about it. And I would tell my children, they put their heart and soul into this case. And that's what brought the victory, or, what I consider a victory for Jackie today. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. And thank you. Thank you.
I think Mr. Vigil made a really important point, which is, for those of us who do this job for a living, eventually we'll have to move on to the next case, and we will be forced to try and find justice for another family. But the families that are a part of our lives briefly and a part of this work will be living with that loss forever. And for those of us who have the ability to influence how the criminal justice system works, how policy is developed, we need to always honor that loss and remember that loss whenever we are not only in front of a judge, but whenever we're in Santa Fe, whenever we're in front of the legislature, whenever we're advocating with our colleagues and other leaders in the criminal justice system. And it's incumbent upon us to carry a piece of that with us. We will never live it in the way that these families do, but we should never forget it either. And we always have to have that in our hearts and in our thoughts when we're going about this work. Commander Hartsock joined us. I want to thank him again because I really do think he did an extraordinary job in putting this investigation on the right track. In fact, I think he did such a great job that that was part of the reason that the Albuquerque Police Department came and hired him away from the DA's office. But if they can benefit from that, I certainly won't hold it against them. And so with that, I think, again, this was a good day for us. It was a good day for the Vigil family, and it was a moment to get justice. And a moment that's a real step forward for the community. And with that, I don't know if anyone has any questions that they have about the investigation, the trial, or anything else. We're happy to answer those. Can I? If they're willing. Yeah, are you guys okay with questions? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, I know you stated, I know you guys stated that justice, you guys feel like justice has been served, and this is a void that you guys can't fill, for obvious reasons, of course, but do you feel a sense of relief and peace for Jacqueline? And like, do you feel Jacqueline is at peace now that he's off the streets?
You know, I have a hard time hearing this.
She's asking if you feel that Jackie is at peace now that we've gotten justice for her.
That Jackie is.
Jackie has is now at peace.
Yeah. I would say that she is. That Jackie's at peace at this point in time. She, you know, obviously didn't serve to die the way she did. And we, through the last 3-4 years, you know, we've been trying to get some justice for her. So I think she's looking at us at this moment. And I think feeling better, maybe. I don't know the word to express how she would be feeling, but I'm sure she's a lot happier now that at least the person that did this to her is going to be serving some time.
Thank you.
How many years is Talamantes facing sentencing?
It's life plus 31 and a half.
I'll rather something with you, sir. You just go through when you're displaying the evidence, doing your closing arguments. There was a time where you got a little bit emotional during this case. Can you just talk us through that moment and being here today with everything that's happened and the verdict and everything?
Sure. I've never actually gotten emotional during a closing argument or any point during a trial like that. I think for this case specifically, it hit close to home for a lot of reasons. I got very close to Sam during the course of the investigation and walking him through the procedure. And so when we got to closing and we put together every piece of evidence that we had to convict, it finally, I think it hit me really during closing arguments of how much of a tragedy this was and how senseless it was. And it got the better of me a little bit. I couldn't get the words out.
All right. I don't think there are any further questions. I really appreciate everyone being here. And once again, thank you. Thank you for all your hard work, and I appreciate it.
I wonder, is Talamantes still facing some federal charges?
I believe so.
He's been convicted federally, and he is waiting to be sentenced.
Oh, so they actually convicted him of the illegal immigration charges and...
That is actually something you'd probably have to talk with them about. I believe he was, but you'd have to verify with them.
All right.
Is Elizabeth Talamantes going to face any additional state charges? Any of the other members of the family?
She is serving federal time right now. As far as the state charges go, we have to balance out whether or not it's worth expending the resources on her versus the amount of time that she's currently facing. So that's a decision for another day at this point, but she's still serving a number of years in federal custody.
All All right, everyone. Thank you very much.